on the Indonesian Spice Route UNESCO World Heritage Nomination Committee. And also the sub-team 4, bringing the people back in case for people policy making in culture. The speaker is Miss Anupema Sekar, Director of Culture Department of Asia Europe Foundation in Singapore. And then the second is Ibu Binti Bukhari, Senior Official to Deputy Chief of Staff, Executive Office on the President. And the third, Miss Valencia Hutabarat, Secretary General of Co-working Indonesia, Managing Director and Co-founder of Kekini Co-working Space. And then Professor Wen Chun, leading expert on socio-economic sustainable development and rural issue in China. And the fifth is Mr. Nur Fauji Rahman, yes, have nickname Bang Oji, yes, thank you. A secular activist on agrarian politics, development policy, and social movement. And then Mr. Ifal Ahmad. No, I have summarized the result of talk show sub-team 1 and 4, and now I would like all the participants to give idea or suggestion how to make the action plan. And it is important for me to making the policy, especially for government, how to implementation about the advancement of culture law number 5 about the advancement of culture. And now I would like to thank Ms. Elfie to help me to lead the discussion. So we directly to show my summary. It's okay?
Yeah, Pak Agus, thank you very much. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Elfie. So I'm assisting Pak Agus in this morning sessions. So as we know, yesterday we have finished. We concluded 2 sessions, Team 1 and Team 2, with some fruitful discussions. And thank you for yesterday's discussions. And we try to sum up generally, actually, what was the idea from today's from yesterday's discussion. So if you can see in the display, could you please someone at the back maybe put it in the display? What is it? The generic ideas from yesterday's discussion. The word version, please.
Maybe it can show the my summaries about sub-team 1. Yes. Sub-team 1.
Yeah.
And yes. I have drafts about action plans about sharing stories, safeguarding culture and cultural diversity. Yes. Maybe we have 1 hour to discuss, and I would like the participant to give idea. The maximum maybe is 5 points. Yes, I have 2 points. If you agree, it's okay. But if you not agree, maybe you can give me suggestion either, and maybe my post can type here. Yes. Okay.
So this is like the draft, the initial draft, and I would like ladies and gentlemen to pay attention to the initial draft, and then maybe make comments if necessary, and maybe we're working from this draft, so we are not starting from the draft anymore. So if I may read, Pak. So we started sub-team 1 action plan of IFAC with, we affirm that culture belongs to people and knows no administrative boundaries. Any effort for cultural preservation should encourage community participation and contribute to their well-being. Heritage preservation and promotion should also aim at celebrating cultural diversity, thus enhancing dialogues and collaborations across nations. It was in witness thereof, we propose these following points as action plans. The first one is work together to create open access to the diversity of cultural expressions as the fundamental right of humankind. The second one, develop an exchange platform for cultural specialists across nations to promote culture as a humanizing factor and enrich the cultural diversity of the world. Yes. So you are, ladies and gentlemen, Pak Agus are welcome to add more points on this maximum four of 5 points. Thank you.
Okay, maybe I would like to discuss, but by number one, all the participants maybe can speak how about the number one. It's agree or makes any suggestion about this. Okay, from number one. Yes, Mr. Oji, Bang Oji. Yeah.
Terima kasih. It seems to me these sentences have a biases on the humankind as an agencies, but forgot about the nature as agencies. And you know, it seems to me also the dichotomy between culture and nature, it's so strong here, too strong to make it not in relation one to another. My arguments, those two, between culture and nature is like co-productions. Especially for Indonesia. Sometimes I am bothered by the boundaries between cultural diversity and biodiversity. Since 3 years ago, I started to develop a communication between the Dirjen Kebudayaan and Dirjen Konservasi Sumber Daya Alam. For me, it's not only a maneuver to connect between two different bureaucratic units, but it reflects the paradigm that between nature and culture should be understood as a co-productions. Those are agencies. For those who are living in an archipelagic territory, like in Raja Ampat, for example, it's clear that Sasi in Raja Ampat, like, you know, if we live in some islands in Raja Ampat, our backyard, our front yard is a sea. So there's a Sasi called, it's Adat law, it's a local regulation, pardon me? Yeah, local traditions. And they have so-called Adat law, yeah, Hukum Adat, that banned for several reasons. If you diving in the sea, in their front yard or in backyard of the kampong, no, you will find the fish ball. It's really big fish. It's bigger than your head. Thousands fish. So in that examples, what I got is the culture create the nature. Yeah, this is the place where fish died because they are old enough to die. In Java, we don't get it. Yeah, the baby fish already harvested. In their term, ini tempat ikan mati tua. Ya, ikan mati tua. All right, we don't find it anywhere, place, because you know they are banned to harvest the fish in their front yard. So, I mean, to differentiate between culture and nature, it doesn't make any sense for me through that perspective. So I think, back to the statement, we affirm that culture belongs to peoples and the tanah air. Tanah air is a specific term that I cannot translate. Yeah, how to translate? Huh? No, waterland is water and land. It's different with tanah air. It's, Muhammad Yamin created that term. Yeah, it's
Motherland, not fatherland.
yeah, motherland. Yeah, but there's no specific, type of nature in the motherland. It's land. It's not water. Tanah air is a specific term that I look for back when it started to produce. Yeah, since Muhammad Yamin created that means as an Andalas, as a Sumatra's islands. Then it goes into Indonesia as a archipelago countries. So we also understood from my political ecology background that nature also creates a culture. Yeah, like, if you have the sea, you will live differently. Yeah, if compared with you are living in the city. So that statement need to be add by or replace the paradigms with the co-production between nature and culture. Should I go into the detail of the sentence or how our process to put the sentence better in the statement? That's the question. Thank you.
Ya Pak, boleh ya Pak. Thank you Bapak. Yes, we have another gentleman who raised hands. Could you please someone to help us to give some microphones, please?
Okay, firstly I have to introduce myself. My name is Gustav. I would agree with Kang Oji that we need to rephrase and put some detailed remarks on the recommendation. But firstly, I also would like to ask and maybe propose what is the methodology that we would like to do, because this kind of formats, I don't think it would be productive to formulate the recommendations, because it is like only one side dialogue, while knowledge exchange, I think the format of the room is only one side, but I think we should be dialogue and discuss each other. So if I may to propose, maybe I can ask all persons in the room to rearrange the seat, we create a circle, and then we discuss this together. Because if there are no direct dialogue and participations among people, there are no such a strong and meaningful recommendation from this meeting. I think that is my point.
Okay.
Can I also add a bit? We have a session yesterday from subtheme 1 to 4. You two have provide like if you follow what has been discussing from all presentation, probably you can come up with some foundation to do or to take action by using all things that we have discussing yesterday. Now, you're coming with sub-theme sharing history, safeguarding cultural diversity. It's like a copy-paste from the Thor. But I believe that we've been discussing quite a number of views and vision. Probably we can do it as our foundation to find out what kind of action that we should be discussing today. Thank you.
Yeah, there are some several points that we collected from yesterday's discussions. I myself, Ibu, attended the first and the fourth actually focus on, but we got input from other colleagues who attended the previous discussions. What about like this? We can arrange, we do some sitting arrangement, and then if it is more comfortable for you to give some inputs, and then maybe we could like for example, Pak Oji already gave some suggestions of the connections between nature and culture. Maybe we can start language or one or two sentences around that. Maybe, and then after that, all of you are welcome to give your what your insights to make the draft better. I think so. If we can make a quick arrangement for sitting arrangement, maybe for round shape, but we still need the display, right? Yeah, to. Or Pak Agus has a good idea of using Slido to give inputs. Okay. Yeah, without further ado, I think, Pak.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe we can follow up suggestions by Pak Nur. Maybe we can start the first paragraph by we affirm. Maybe Mbak Sally, you are ready, ya, Pak. Mbak. This is just suggestions open for what is it? Open for any inputs. We affirm that culture and nature are complementary, inseparable, and interdependent. Full stop. Could you please someone type it? Yes. So, yes, we affirm that culture and nature are complementary, inseparable, and interdependent. It is therefore a interdependent, full stop, and then just delete the rest of them until the next full stop, please. Interdependent. interdependent, and then please delete belongs until the next full stop, please. Okay. Any effort, sorry. Okay. Any effort for cultural preservation should encourage community participations and contribute to their well-being. Okay. Before any effort, maybe we should make some acknowledgement that we need to create. We affirm that culture and nature are complementary, inseparable, and interdependent, full stop. Okay, and then we delete belongs to people, knows administrative boundaries, please. We delete, we cross out, yes. All right. Next, we said that creating an enabling environment creating an enabling environment will allow us to protect the heritage means culture, to protect the culture and the environment we value, and provide us with opportunity of to achieve sustainable development, the goals of sustainable development. To achieve sustainable development. Yes. All right. Yes, Bapak. Yes. All right. Because like, what happened if we maybe go back a little bit before the SDGs era, it was the MDGs era. The MDGs era is the disconnection between all the pillars. What we want SDGs to have a better framework, global framework, is the connections between at least three pillars, which is the economic, social, and environment. So why I mentioned the sustainable goals here is because like a global framework that is agreed by all. Yeah. So I think this idea, I think try already to accommodate Pak Nur's input. So if we all of you are agree, maybe we can move on to the next language, please. If it is okay for everybody. All right. Ya, Ibu, silakan. Barangkali ada yang bisa.
I was thinking you maybe need a modifier before the creating and enabling environment. What type of environment? We cannot enable in natural environment. So just as you say, maybe you say economic environment or social environment or political environment. So you probably need a modifier in the front to differentiate it from a natural environment.
Yes, but what I mean with enabling environment is any situations that support, like any conducive elements to support environment. I don't want to go, I think it's better for us not to go specific to a certain maybe economic or social or cultural environment, maybe. But enable, from my stand of view, enabling environment is already what is it, a generic, I mean, a term to say that we have to accommodate, what is it, environment that is conducive to protect heritage and blah, 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 but that's what I'm thinking. But if the others agree with, Madam, what is your name? Una? Yes, Madam Una said that we need to be specific with. Enabling environment, what I mean here is creating a conducive environment.
Thank you. Sorry.
I think, ya Bapak, thank you for apa namanya. Yes, I think environment is not solely only rivers to nature. I think environment, like for example, we often hear the term business environment. For example, business environment is not necessarily said that it is the nature of environment, no, but the factors, the atmospheres, everything. What is it around it actually?
Hello.
Okay.
Hi, sorry. I just wanted to suggest perhaps you could just take a few words out of that sentence to make it a little bit tighter and clearer. And I understand the discussion here between conditions or environment. I think that's, I think the main thing is you say creating an environment, an enabling environment to protect, just to take out the will allow us.
Okay.
To protect.
All right, I think I agree.
Human culture and the environment of value, or that we value,
all right,
will provide, or will give opportunity. Yeah.
Yes, I think rapporteur maybe could help us to.
But and also it's not clear. Heritage human culture here is not clear. I think we're referring to human culture.
Yes. Please cross out human. So.
Yeah, I mean cultural heritage. Are you referring to cultural heritage here? So creating an enabling environment to protect cultural heritage.
Cultural.
Perhaps
yes.
you should have conditions because you got environment twice in the same sentence. Creating enabling conditions to protect cultural heritage and the environment.
No, what I mean with environment is the whole in the system, like the policies, maybe the infrastructure, the funding. That's what I mean with the whole enabling environment, conducive elements to support our effort too, for example, to protect the heritage or environment or the everything, including the value.
You need the word natural there then, cultural heritage and the natural environment, because you've got two environments.
Okay.
I understand what you mean, but if you want to say creating an enabling environment, then I think we need to come with a certain indicators. What is the enabling environment for that to happen? So that will be the consequences of putting those two words in there.
Okay. We can work with that, I think. Bapak, silakan.
The first comment is about editing work. Yeah, somebody has to take care of editing work instead of, have a conversation about how to edit it. That one thing, and I propose you become one of the editor. Yeah, because you are very careful about the structure, grammars, and everything. The second comment is about the conditions that make our efforts different, because we are dealing with something that yesterday I say about extinction. Yeah, this is if we look at the biodiversity, if we look at the cultural diversity, they are threatened by many forces to make them extinct. The language, the monoculture of the seed and landscape, the type of food that we have by the commodification of the chains of food industry and everything. What I want to put here is, before we go into enabling conditions, we have to define our threatened forces. Now in Britain, there is a movement called Extinction Rebellion. It's rebellion because, you know, we are dealing with the not only climate change but also the human culture, yeah, that will create the extinction, that have been creating extinction. So what kind of culture that we want to keep as our value, yeah? In lagu Indonesia Raya, there's a sentence so-called selamat, yeah? Why we don't use that terms in order to dealing with the main threatening forces, yeah? That will extinct, even extinct in a natural thing. Our city, like in Palu, they do something. I mean, the nature do something. They have agencies that reshape all of the cultural heritage that we have, that we developed. So I mean, put extinction as a key word, yeah, in defining our moment now.
Okay, Bapak, thank you for your insights. But what I have in mind is we don't need to put specific words like extinct because, like, what is the goal? What is sustainable? Sustainable is, what is it? Because, like, we don't have to put extinct, but there is a sustainable development there. So we also have protect there. But if you have like if you have direct idea to complete or to revise the sentence, please go ahead. Ibu, please, someone give the microphone to Ibu, please. Oh, Pak Gustav.
Yeah, again, I would like to amplify and affirm what Kang Oji told. I think before we state our affirmations on these statements, following some presentation and discussion from yesterday, I think we should redefine or even recognize what is our common challenges, what is our common complexity that are somehow happening in planetary scale. What has been mentioned by Kang Oji, that we, like what you have presented yesterday, that our shared history, even shared heritage, are being threatened by climate change, rapid population growth, many problems that I think are need to be clearly defined as a common challenge and complexity that we have to deal with. Because I think in the end, if we didn't recognize all these challenges and complexities, things are somehow like we are voluntarily extinct humans as civilizations.
I think you're absolutely right, and I think what this statement is lacking is agency. You need to say why. Why is this important? Otherwise, it's very nice what's written here, but it doesn't have any. There's no sense of urgency.
Yes.
And the real importance. I mean, I don't know what is coming in the preamble to this, obviously, but I think you're absolutely right. It has to reflect that sense of urgency as to why this is important.
Yes, Ibu Felicia, thank you.
Yeah, I'm actually want to, again, even amplifying more what the three other have said. Because I think, you know what is lacking? Also because I'm coming from the non-state actor. And I've been, talking about a lot of things to, other people. What we're lacking is actually the understanding that we're not speaking for us alone. We're speaking for the people out there. So when Gustav says we, it's not about us who are caring or like having this like attention to the cultural sector per se. It's supposed to be for everyone. So there has to be that sense of shared urgency and a shared action. So whatever is written within these sentences, it has to be able to apply and to be understood by everybody. And that's why, because often in meetings like this, we're focusing so much. Like for example, in heritage protection, yes, it's important, but what is the relevance for me? Why? Like why I need to be involved in this? So this is, I think this is the moment, especially with, you have all the brains here, to be able to pronounce that very clearly in these sentences. Like for example, even with the second one, development exchange platform for cultural specialists, no, it has to be cross-discipline, just like what Kang Oji was saying. He was trying to bridge between the Ministry of Culture and the Ministry of Forestry. I've been trying to bridge the cultural sector with the creative economy sector they're supposed to be talking about, and technology and economy. But it's very difficult if we do it ourselves. So it's very important, especially with your power as the state representative, to be able to pronounce that very well. Thank you.
All right, so thank you for all the available input, yeah, Pak. For your information, we haven't announced it earlier that there is some background why. So like noting the emerging, for example, the emerging situations like climate change and the and the advance of technology. There is some background info, but yes, we do not put it in display there because like we'd like to put in the preamble before all the action plans for the sub-teams begins here. So we are assigned to take care of only sub-team 1, but of course we take note for your input to put some preamble for introductions of the why are needed, right? That's what Pak Oji, I think, and Pak Pak.
Just to make sure that all the points from our distinguished participants is going to be on the documents, maybe we can just put our common challenges
Yes.
and complexities as part of this document, so it will be contributed into the main preamble.
Yeah, it'll be great. It will be great. Yes.
What is so maybe we can just make some points. Climate change is one. Can you put some pointers? We recognize common challenges and complexities. Point 1, climate change.
Okay. Or maybe we could begin this paragraph, or maybe separately. Okay, we have to discuss it with other facilitators.
You say that it can be finished by editing next year, but this is a draft, so we can put some points.
All right, maybe we can start, Mbak Sally, by saying in noting that there is common challenge before we affirm. Before we affirm, we start with.
We recognize common challenge and complexities in global scale, such as
Okay, we recognize common challenges and complexities such as, what is it? Climate change maybe. The natural disasters happens because of the climate change. Climate change, comma, migrations, yes. Migrations, what else? Maybe, okay. Food insecurity. Okay, land degradation. Land degradation. Food insecurity. Food insecurity. Food insecurity, comma, land degradation. What war? Oh, okay. War and conflict. Okay, I think we have also input from the back. Please, Mas.
Thank you. I think one thing that probably we need to agree upon is the context of what we're trying to discuss. From the draft that was made so far, it seems that the context is only related to UNESCO's Convention 1972 and 2003, because it here is all cultural heritage. When we're talking about Convention 2005, we're talking about cultural expression. So I think now if we can agree upon this is also something that we're going to talk about and take note, because it was discussed in the previous session, then some things that need to change in terms of, perhaps one suggestion is in terms of wording. Maybe protection will be better than preservation, because that's more, it could relate better to contemporary culture. And also, if I may, I would like to make some suggestions. In terms of point 1 and 2, it seems that we are not acknowledging previous work. When we're talking, if you look at point 1, work together to create open access to, that means we're not acknowledging that there's possibly already an effort to be made. And then point 2 is the same. So if I may make a suggestion, number 2, if we can make an edit, start with identify. Point 2, Pak. Di point 2. Identify, comma. Nggak, itu nyambung dari yang dari tadi, yang nggak bikin baru. Nah, oke. Identify, comma. Acknowledge. And empower existing exchange platforms, as well as continue to develop and expand and develop, expand and develop new exchange platforms. Jadi N-nya diganti new, platformnya pakai S, gitu. That's one of my suggestions. And then following what I did suggest yesterday, if we could add another point, maybe this could be something that we can discuss about. Encourage future discussions for a consensus of guidelines. Encourage future discussions for a consensus of guidelines on the protection and promotion of cultural heritage and expressions that support peace, comma, humanity, comma, and the sovereignty of each country. Pakai itu nanti depannya. Sovereignnya nggak pakai U, terus pakai the depannya. The pakai the. Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you so much for the specific input. If any of you would like to.
Hi. Hello. Sorry, there was another point that was occurring to me in your 4 action points, is that in a sense I feel you need to strengthen the link between cultural heritage and natural heritage and well-being, and actually how to explain, I think that we really need as I mentioned yesterday, I think First of all, you need to be we need as a community to be much clearer about what well-being is and what actually constitutes well-being. And I know that sounds horrible to have to divide something up and start to, but I think it's really important to actually identify what you mean by it, rather than just having it as this one word the whole time. And secondly, I think also that it's really important that there is more work done to actually evidence the link between cultural heritage and the natural environment and well-being. It sounds, how can I say, so obvious, but I think unless you have more clear work done on even things like indicators that governments then can take into account, because you have to in some way address the ways in which governments work and the ways in which they recognize the value of things. So I feel also that there's a need to have as an action point more work done on evidencing that link between cultural heritage, the natural environment and well-being.
All right, what about if we put some additions on the second sentence, Mbak Sally, creating? What about this one? So we put the action plan later, but we make the affirmations at the beginning. So creating an enabling environment to, please delete, will allow us. So creating an, the one on the top, please. Creating an enabling environment, please delete, will allow us. So create an enabling environment to protect the cultural maybe the cultural and natural heritage. Is it okay with you, Pak Oji, if we say natural heritage?
I'm not sure about culture as humanizing factor. That one, yeah. Number two, yeah, to promote culture as humanizing factor without putting nature as a central agency. Because, you know, I learned a lot about the screen culture here. Screen culture, it's a create spectacles every day, 8 hours and 55 minutes every Indonesian dealing with screen. And something that happened with you when you dealing with screen, you got spectacles. There are some distances between, this is not a mirror. No, this is a performance that create distances between what you look at with what is going on. Nature will bring you back into a connection with the materiality. It's not about environment as a term, as a discourse, as a performance, but there is a materiality of the nature that will bring you back to be human as a part of the other agencies. That's why I cannot think separately. Yeah? It should be taken not only interrelated only, but it's dialectical. Yeah, it's a matter of thinking of your existence. I mean, it is a philosophical thing, but for doing a statement over that, yeah, culture, maybe we have to come back to the nature, the Indonesian's natural heritage as a archipelagic country, as most of our territory is forest. And the urbanized peoples never been aware that they are living because of the forest surfaces. Their water come out from the hill that because of the forest. I mean, the urbanized, alienated people need to be therapized. Yeah, by bringing back the nature as a part of their living conditions. They just don't aware about that.
All right, thank you so much, Pak Oji. We have limited time here, Bapak, until 11, and we haven't even moved one one paragraph, or we haven't even agreed for one even single sentence. So for your information, this is not a negotiations forum, it's an exchange of views forum. So what we have here as part of the Jakarta statement is our own commitment, is not binding for you. So please give a direct input to whatever mentions there in the display. So if Pak Oji, you don't agree with humanizing factor, we can cross it out. Number 2.
Promote nature and culture.
All right.
As humanism factor.
Okay. So Mbak Sally, thank you. So to promote culture or nature culture, Pak. It could also different meaning.
I have a point for the first one to amplify the third one. That so it's not only about to create, but work together to recognize, to nurture, and protect open access to diversity. So work together to recognize, nurture, recognize, nurture, and protect open access to cultural diversity of cultural expression, habitat, and ecosystem.
Thank you, Pak Gustav. But I'm not familiar with to protect open access. Can we protect open access? Okay. Okay, all right. Thank you, Pak. So maybe we could start from the beginning, because we were, I think, what is it? Where we were. Okay, creating an environment, Mbak Sally Punten. We were in this middle of this paragraph before we go on. Creating an enabling environment, that's what we stopped previously. It is in the middle, yes. Creating an enabling environment to protect the cultural and natural heritage. We delete and the environment until the value. Okay, and delete please and until before to achieve. So and provide us with the opportunity of, we delete that part. Okay, I'll delete the comma please. All right, is everybody agree with this? I think we can go on with this. Yes, I see some nodding, some are nodding. So if we can move on to the next, any effort for, okay, for cultural and natural then. Any efforts for cultural and natural preservation should encourage community participation and contribute to their well-being. Oh, okay, because Ms. Allison, if I'm not mistaken, you want the connections between the three, right, with the well-being, not only the preservations, but also the well-being, right? Yeah. So maybe we could add, sorry, Mbak Sally, could you go back to the word, to the sentence of creating an enabling environment to protect the cultural and natural heritage to the well-being of?
I would say to achieve sustainable development
Okay.
and well-being.
And the well-being, not well-being first and then achieve
I
sustainable
think
development.
sustainable development is a means to achieving
Okay.
well-being.
Okay, so you said to achieve the sustainable development and the well-being. All right.
No, not the. You don't need the article. Just and well-being. And
well-being.
well-being.
Without the.
Small note, you can take the out before sustainable development. Achieve sustainable development, no the. Exactly.
Please eliminate the. Okay, if everybody happy with this, we can go on. Yes. Next, an effort for cultural and natural preservation should encourage community participation and contribute to their well-being.
Can I also just make a tiny little, sorry, it's such a tiny correction, but I just say when you affirm that culture and nature are complementary, inseparable and interdependent, I would also say and vital for addressing these challenges. So you connect sentence 1 with sentence 2.
Okay, so you are suggesting we add one more sentence or we just combine it?
At the end when you say and interdependent, and vital for addressing these challenges. So you connect the challenges with the second statement.
Okay, Mbak Sally, could you please add on the second sentence, we affirm that culture and nature are complementary, comma, inseparable and interdependent, comma, which is vital,
I would just
to
say
address the emerging and complexities, to address the emerging global challenges.
I would just say and vital to addressing these challenges.
Okay. All right.
They're complementary, inseparable, and independent, and are vital to address these challenges.
Okay. Because if you said and, so it will be like the continuations after interdependence. So that's why I said which is vital.
Of course.
Yes. Which is vital to address. Yes, please.
It's not really, but from the creating an environment, the sentence, it's not full sentence yet. We are missing a verb, just want to say. Like the creating an enabling environment to protect the cultural and the natural heritage. Just want to say that there's no verb grammatically. Yeah.
And also Gustav just discussed about terror and radicalization as a threat.
Oh, yeah, like the last point, war and conflict. We discuss, maybe we can also add war, terror, conflict, and power abuse. Abuse of power, yeah. Because in many cases, natural destructions and heritage are being destroyed by all this kind of acts.
Could you not just refer to, could we refer to inequality? Inequality. As opposed to abuse of power. I just think it's inequality. I was just thinking inequality instead of abuse of power.
Okay, we can do that, Ibu, but it is, however, like I mentioned before, that the current circumstances now, the threat, what you're concerned, climate change, migration, yes, but it is, like I said, it will not be appeared here because it will be in the preamble. So if we want to make specific circumstances, noting some concerns, it has to be specific to subtheme 1 and subtheme 4. Because it's general has to be put in the preamble part. Yeah, if you have specific idea to put, but it has to be specific to subtheme 1 and subtheme 4 only, because this will move it to the preamble part that is not displayed here. So you agree, right? All right. So thank you. So, so please make a separate paragraph, Mbak Sally. So we recognize the first sentence. So this will be put on the preamble. Okay, the preamble. Yes, it will be specific to the subtheme 1 and 4 that we discussed. Supposed to discuss. Di belakang war, comma, Mbak Sally. Okay. So put a new paragraph in the we affirm, please. New paragraph, Mbak Sally, please. Yes. Okay. Okay. Yes. All right. So everybody. Okay.
No, I'm gonna just add the verb there. So creating an enabling environment is imperative to protect the cultural and natural heritage.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, next paragraph, please, Mbak Sari. The last sentence in the paragraph. Heritage preservation. Yes, that's one. Sorry, Ibu. Yeah, new paragraph, please, Mbak Sally. Yes, we still miss the verb in the creating an environment, enabling environment is imperative, Mbak Sally. Creating, we start with the, what is it, the previous sentence, please. The previous sentence started with creating an environment is imperative to protect. Okay. Okay. All right. Please make any effort for cultural and natural preservation as the new paragraph, please. We war? We war? Okay. All right. Okay. Now, as I mentioned before, Ibu, as I mentioned before, the first paragraph will be put in the preamble because it addresses. Okay. Okay. Yeah, we haven't even get in touch with the substance of subtheme 1 and subtheme 4. It's already 10:40 and we are about to finish at 11. So. Okay. We support any effort. Yes, Miss.
I'm sorry, I still am missing the link with really working more to make clear the link between cultural heritage and well-being. At the moment, it's kind of implicit, yes? We need to make it explicit. And to do that, we have to work to make more evident the links between cultural heritage and well-being, so that it's clear that it's more explicit.
All right, so you have
rather than just saying, "Oh, cultural heritage, well-being."
You have a
as kind
direct
of
and specific
implicit
input
link.
to be added in the paragraph.
Yeah, I think it needs to come in your action points. And
All right.
you've got a little bit there, work together to recognize as a fundamental, or you even have
The first action plan, Mbak Sally.
any effort for cultural and natural preservation should encourage community participation. and
No, the
contribute to
first,
their
the action
well-being.
plan, number 1, please, Mbak Sally. Yes, so, please.
Oh, now this is the difficult bit. As a fundamental right of man, and make clear their contribution to well-being. Can you just put at the end of that, and make clear their contribution, and make more clear or more evident the role. Make more clear the contribution to well-being. To well-being, not well-being.
I think whatever we are doing in our action plan, whatever we put in the action plan, the main purpose, the end goal should be to contribute to our well-being, right? I don't think we don't need to repeat that on the action plan, because it's on the preamble of the sub-theme. I mean, yeah, right? Is it? So it's already stated on the first paragraph of this sub-theme. We affirm that culture, blah 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 blah, should contribute to achieve sustainable development and well-being. So we elaborate further what actions should we do in order to achieve our goals, which is to achieve the sustainable goal and well-being on the action plans number 1, number 2, number 3. So we don't need to repeat that, I think.
Is there a way to make it more specific on how to achieve the well-being?
Yes,
I think what I'm getting at here is that we need to work more to actually get greater recognition of the connection between cultural heritage, the natural environment, and well-being, and that you have to evidence that. We need to actually be able to produce evidence of it, yeah, rather than just carrying on working to conserve cultural heritage. We need to do more. There's a need for research and for gathering of evidence and actually formulating that in clearer ways to governments.
Because we already said that.
I don't know if I'm being clear here. Maybe I'm not making my point clear.
For my perspective, maybe you can challenge that. From my point of view, we already make it clear because we affirm that culture and nature are complementary, inseparable, and interdependent. We already said that it is vital, it's important to address those challenges that we would like to put in the preamble, right? So we don't need to put too many substances, evidence, and etc. because already in our discussions yesterday sessions. So by saying that we affirm that we already acknowledge at least, and we once again echoing our commitment.
With all due respect, maybe you can also check with the floor. If the floor find it's important, maybe we could include it. So I mean, I know that you think that it's already included, but maybe we can also check with the others.
Yes, please. If you have other specific ideas to be put on the paragraph, please, we are still welcome.
If I may make a suggestion, why don't we give Ms. Allison some time to figure out specifically what to put in,
Okay.
and while she does that, we move on with other points that we need to agree upon because time is very short. Yeah, so okay. Just let her think about it.
Okay. So we agree with the next sentence. We support any effort for cultural and natural preservation. We support any effort for cultural and natural preservation, comma, by. By encouraging, what I mean. All right, we finished the first sentence, Ibu, or maybe you have ideas? All right, we support any effort for cultural and natural preservation, including by encouraging community participations. Full stop, I think. No? Yeah?
We support any effort done by, by a large community or people in the world. So, like, we support any effort for cultural and natural preservation, comma. Yeah, okay. And then, comma, we don't need the words including by encouraging, no. Natural preservation, comma, community participation, comma, no, something to do with preservation and probably we need to find a very strong sentence that will bring up an issue of promotion and the power of cultural diversity. Something like that. So it's we support all that effort. Reports
maybe we can try
refers to
this.
that.
Okay, we support any effort for cultural and natural preservation, community participations, and the protections. Di bawah, no, di bawah. Community participation and the protection of cultural diversity that contribute to their well-being. Yep. Itu dihilangin aja. That contribute to their well-being, ya. Yeah, protection and promotion, ya. Of cultural diversity and ecosystem that contribute to their well-being. Natural ecosystem, ya. Yeah. Cultural diversity and natural ecosystem that contribute to their well-being. Itu apa heritage?
Yeah, I think it's similar. It's similar. We can cross out the heritage preservation until the whole sentence, Sally. Yeah, because it's, I think everybody loves these sessions very much. We can extend the sessions until late in the afternoon. Yes, Mbak Sally, could you please cross out, delete the first sentence of the next paragraph, heritage preservation until across nations. All right, next paragraph, yeah, in witness thereof, this is the most important thing, yeah, action plans, everybody. So, Ibu Felicia? I might sound abusive, but if I would like to propose preservation and utilization, okay. So Interaction? No, because Ibu Felicia said that preservation is not enough, right? Oh, okay.
In the context of forest preservations, it goes into nature reserve. It's a scheme, yes, cagar alam. Conservation is bigger than that. Yeah, preservation is one of the scheme within the conservation. So, utilizations is another thing. It goes into the productive forest. Yeah? So, it's better to make sure that the dictions that we choose, yeah, instead of preservations that goes into cagar budaya, yeah. So I absorb the idea that we need to put our creations, yeah, creative to based on the heritage, we have to reproduce, yeah, the culture that fit into our purposes, yeah, which is about the well-being. So instead of using preservation over there, we can use the conservations and utilizations as a double that connect one to another.
Okay, Mbak Sally, you have some ideas? Someone give the microphone to Mbak Sally, please.
Thank you. If I may say that based on the national law of number 11 of 2010 concerning with the cultural heritage, that mentioned that preservation may include preservation means protection, development, and utilization of cultural heritage. So if I may say that actually protection, utilization, and development of cultural heritage, it's already included into the preservation of cultural heritage itself. So the word preservation and in this draft may refer to protection, development, and utilization of the cultural heritage itself. So it means if there is another like protection or utilization, if we put those words in this draft, that would mean that there may be a duplication into this draft.
All right, I got Mbak Sally's point saying that in our context, our national context, preservations means also protections, utilizations, and development, right? But this is not only about Indonesia. If you have, better words to be inputted there, we are more welcome. So, Pak Joe said that development, if there is other stronger word.
I would just, in reflection of what has just said, and I agree with you, considering this is not just a document for national consumption, I would say preservation and use, just to make it really clear.
Okay. Mbak Sally, could you please, cultural and natural preservation and use.
And use.
Okay. Cultural diversity and natural ecosystem. So, Mbak Sally, could you please go back to creating an enabling environment? Creating an enabling environment is imperative to protect the. Maybe we don't need the. Which one, Pak? Oh, okay. We support any effort for cultural diversity and natural. Which one? Oh, okay. All right. Protection, promotion of cultural diversity and natural. Okay.
I'm so sorry. Can I also just add one further word in? This is where it starts to get really detailed. Could you just put the word sustainable before use? Natural preservation and sustainable use.
All right. Agree. I agree with you. Preservation, accessible use. Any effort for cultural and natural preservation as a All right, because preserve already means to sustain, right?
No, because in sometimes it can mean just almost like trying to say put something in a box and stop it changing.
Okay, so I think there's something that is not really in place here. We support any effort for cultural and natural preservation and sustainable use. Should we not adding by here? By strengthening, for example, increasing or strengthening community participation? All right, we can put it in the steps, the actions plans on the numbers below. We support any efforts for cultural and natural preservation and sustainable use, comma. Okay, we can go back to the previous draft, Mbak Sally. Comma.
How to put in the sentence that the dialogue between nations is important also.
It will be put on the list of actions later, Ibu. If you like to, where? Okay, just give us a specific wording then, and where to be put, Ibu. If you are concerned that it has to be in.
I think in the last sentence we can put protection and promotion of cultural diversity and natural ecosystem that contribute to their well-being both in local and global context. No.
Okay.
Bravo, bravo, Gustav.
Okay, Mbak Sally, you. Okay, we can go on.
May I?
Have we make a correction?
Use a microphone so the rapporteur could also listen to
we
your
already
inputs.
put that, both in local and global context.
Maybe you can also add at all levels, full stop. Because local means provincial, or we can also have, we also need the national level before the global.
It has to be specific, like local can be.
Okay. Okay. Okay, can we? Is it okay? Is it enough, Pak Gustav? Okay. Next. There we go with the action plans.
I still have a problem in that
Okay,
sentence. May I little bit move the term preservation over there? Put the preservation after cultural.
Which one, Bapak?
We support any effort for cultural preservations and natural conservations.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mbak Sally, could you please revise it? We support the paragraph in the middle. So we support any effort for cultural preservation and natural conservation.
Yeah. And blah blah. That's it.
Okay, any others? Okay, we need to move on. We need only 5 more minutes. I mean, we still haven't finished the subteam 1. So we go on with the action plan, please. In witness thereof, we propose these following points as action plans. First, work together to recognize, nurture, and protect open access to the diversity of cultural expression, habitat, and ecosystem as the fundamental right of humankind, and make clear that the contribution then make clear to, sorry, yes?
That last bit was, I think, down to me, and I was asked to come up with a better formulation, and perhaps as a separate point. So instead of the "and make clear the contribution to well-being," perhaps we could put that as a separate point. And I have worked together to define the meaning and measurement of the contribution of cultural and natural heritage to well-being.
So you're saying we add one more paragraph?
Yeah, take out
Okay.
"and make clear that the contribution to," take that bit in red out, and put as a separate point, work together to define the meaning and measurement of the contribution of cultural and natural heritage
Sorry,
to
Ms.
well-being.
Allison. Mbak Sally, could you please follow, type whatever, Ms. Allison said? Yes, Ms. Allison, could you please once again repeat?
Okay,
Yeah, please.
all right. So please, could you take the "and make clear," the red, could you take that out? No.
The last
Part of one, take that out. Delete. Thank you. Yeah. Just delete it.
Just delete it.
Just
Mbak,
delete it.
yeah, make
Okay.
it to the
And
second
now
paragraph.
point 2. And this is for everyone to decide if they agree on this. Work together. So we have another work together. To define the meaning and measurement of the contribution of cultural and natural heritage to well-being. Sorry, the meaning and measurement of the contribution of cultural and natural heritage to well-being. To well-being. Thank you. And I don't know if people agree with this point. So
Thank you, Ms.
I
Allison,
would
for the
welcome
specific
comments.
wording. Thank you. So next, number 3, identify, acknowledge, and empower existing exchange platforms. Well, as to identify as well, yeah, as well. To continue and we delete as. To continue, delete to continue, expand and develop. As well, so as well we delete the second S, please. Oh, okay, as well as to continue. Wait a second, Mbak Sally. Identify, acknowledge, and empower existing exchange platforms, as well as to continue, expand, and develop new exchange platforms for cultural specialists across nations to promote natural and cultural heritage, maybe. To promote natural, yeah, Bu Felicia?
Supposed to be multidisciplinary.
Okay. Okay, so to develop exchange platforms for, yeah, it is. Okay, do you have specific wording, Ibu?
Alison can do it, or
It's number 3. Yeah.
Existing exchange platforms. And Oh my God.
Okay, what about this one? Identify, acknowledge, and empower existing exchange platforms as well as to continue, expand, and develop exchange platform using interdisciplinary approach to promote.
Can we? There's too many exchange platforms, I quite agree.
Yeah, can we just say identify, acknowledge, and empower existing and new exchange platforms for interdisciplinary dialogue to promote? Then you can keep the rest if you want. So it's identify, acknowledge, and empower existing and new exchange platforms. After that, you can, as well as you delete, to continue you delete, expand and develop you delete, again exchange platforms you delete, because it's a repetition, yeah, okay. New exchange platforms for FOR, yeah, you can remove using, delete using, for interdisciplinary dialogue. Disciplinary, you have to check the spelling. Interdisciplinary dialogue. You can remove for cultural specialists, remove it, okay. So for interdisciplinary dialogue across nations, are we happy with the last part? And we just leave it like that? Okay. So for interdisciplinary and A&D and cross-cultural dialogue, but cross-cultural dialogue is the same as dialogue across nations, so we are repeating ourselves, right? So we remove. Okay. Okay, so let's say interdisciplinary and cross-cultural dialogue. Cross-cultural dialogue. Cross-cultural dialogue, okay? Then you remove across nations because it's repetition, yeah. And I think in the interest of time, maybe we leave the second part of the sentence as it is because the core action is kind of clear, yeah? And we move on to the next one, yeah.
All right, if there is no other inputs, we can move on to the next sub-team 4. All right, okay. So we wrap up this one, Mbak Sally. Don't forget to save and then move on to the. Sub-team 4, paragraph 4, if anybody, the fourth, I mean, okay. So sub-team 4 now, yeah? All right. That's the theme. That's the theme of the sub-theme of sub-theme 4. So I give you 1 minute to read it quickly. If there is no input, specific input, yeah, we are not discussing discussions anymore. So if there is no more specific input, we wrap up the sessions. That's the title. The title of the sub-team, Ibu. All right. It was. Okay. I think yes. I think it was discussed during yesterday's sessions, Ibu. So we cannot go back to. Yes, it was the title. So, okay, we don't open discussions anymore on the title, on the context, on the. Yeah, it's done yesterday, Ibu. So. Yes, you should have attended yesterday's session, Ibu. Yeah, we can put it, if you want to, empower to be put on the paragraph, we can put it on the, no, we can put it on the action plan. We can put it in the action plan. All right, Ibu, please.
So, okay, also in the interest of time, I think in the very first paragraph, instead of saying if the purpose, because we know that the purpose is sustainable development, can we just say as the purpose of cultural policy is to attain sustainable development, and then we leave it, yeah?
Agree.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we just say as, so that,
as the purpose of.
Okay. And then in front of process where the cursor is, just put the process of policy making, THE, yeah, yeah. Should be, okay, we just like that. And you can make need into needs, 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 yeah, okay, okay. But in this needs of people, but by role, what do we mean? Ah, you mean there, okay.
I don't think we need the role here. Why should we?
Yeah, I think the role.
You mean the acknowledgement?
It's the second. In the second. It is. In the second sentence, could we start with like we, instead of starting with mechanism, can we say we need to develop mechanisms then to empower artists?
Mbak Sally, please, the second sentence, please. We need, we need to develop and
we
empower.
We need to develop
mechanisms
with, we can say with mechanisms with the S in the end, not only one, but many mechanisms. We need to develop mechanisms, and then I think we can delete should be developed, can be deleted, should be developed, yeah. So we need to develop mechanisms to empower artists and cultural professionals as well as communities at large to participate in the policy making process, as well as to monitor the effectiveness, everything is, yeah, of public policies. Okay. Okay, so there's one suggestion here to, when we write artists and cultural professionals, maybe we make it artists, comma, cultural professionals, and, so artists, comma, yeah, you remove the cultural professionals, and communities at large.
But maybe because of the nature of the government, so we need also to encourage artists and professionals, and that's why.
But also it is also the role of engineers, designers.
But I think they mean, I mean, my understanding is because this is IFAC, we are talking specifically about culture, and then everyone else. I think that's why artists and cultural professionals, I mean, that's how I see it, has been highlighted and not the other professionals, because we are gathered here as cultural professionals, and we talk for our sector and for ourselves. That's how I see it. And the,
yes,
and the engineer is in the communities.
Yeah, maybe other actors could be incorporated in the next forum, yeah, IVAC forum, or the other, the next year's forum. Okay, now we stick on this
so
paragraph, yes. It's a long-term target, right? But maybe at the moment we stop first.
Shall we?
All right,
Okay.
so we go on to the action plan now.
There's a small grammatical mistake. So after the and, you can remove as well as. Because, so it's cultural professionals and communities at large. So let the and be there, remove as well as. Yeah, yeah, so that's fine, okay.
It's fine for everybody? Okay. The action plans, please. The first one, develop a global initiative that systematically and regularly provide capacity building in cultural professions to empower the people. It's fine.
No,
Bapak, silakan.
I keep insisting the nature of nature, yeah, in this cultural thing. Like, you know, in the number ones, to empower the people, the last words in the number one, yeah, to empower the people and to restore the nature, because that's, if we look at the case of Bali, there's a crisis, the water crisis. We cannot develop the ceremony from the Buyan Tamblingan lake into the sea, yeah, 4 days walk, more than 60 kilometers. Yeah, it will be happens in 28 October this month. Because if there is no water in it, and the water is shortage now. So if we don't to restore the nature, we cannot have the culture. That's why in number one, we have to put that sentence.
All right, thank you so much, Bapak, for the input. Can we go on to number two? Promote an inclusive mechanism that increase artists and local communities' role in policy making process. Or, okay, to be in line with the previous, in the preamble, maybe we should add that increase artists, comma, cultural professionals, oh, okay, Mbak Sally, that increase the role of artists, comma, cultural professionals, comma, and society at large. Society at large in policy making process. Okay. Next, number three, strengthen the reach of Sister City and Sister Site program to include local communities and cultural producers to create a more eco-friendly rural and urban development. Okay, so promote global collaboration, or maybe promote further global collaborations. That includes local, okay, just follow the rest of the sentence, Mbak Sally. That includes local communities, just, okay, so you delete strengthen until to include, yes. Okay, delete local, not local, delete local, yes. That includes local communities and cultural producers to create a more eco-friendly rural and urban development. I think cultural producers, okay, Bapak.
Eco-friendly rural and urban development. If I learned from Professor Chen yesterday, it's about reconstruction. It's not about development, yeah? Because, you know, urban development will be, you know, different. Yeah, there are gentrifications that will extinct the kampung kota and everywhere. But rural-urban reconstruction is important thing to connect between those peoples and their nature in a new force, in developing a new force in order to push the policy making better.
Okay, what about if we add rural and urban reconstructions and development?
From what we have yesterday, actually, also shared to us the term rural revitalizations. So I think it's supposed to be rural and urban linkage and revitalization, because urban and rural is not either or urban or rural, it has to be goes together. So it's about urban and rural linkage and revitalizations.
Okay, thank you, Pak Gustav. Ibu Felicia?
Just number 2, I would suggest to promote an inclusive mechanism to ensure the contribution of, the participation of artists, cultural professionals, and society at large in policy-making processes.
Okay, we can go on with that.
To ensure, not that ensure, to ensure. Not the role, but the contribution.
Alright, silakan Mbak. Specific wording ya Pak, Mbak.
Saya pakai bahasa Indonesia ya. Apa bedanya sih?
Sorry, we first of all I have to reiterate we don't do discussion here.
Bisa tambahin cultural activities atau memungkinkan tidak adanya masukan scholarship or master or doctoral study in art and culture because it's important for develop culture in academic area.
Yes, it's already included in the first.
Yeah.
If you are talking about capacity building, it's already included in the first. It's generic. Yes.
Yeah.
So we don't need to be specific. Yeah.
Okay.
We need another IFAC forum to be specific. Yes. So Mas, monggo.
First of all, in point 2, if we want to have consistency between cultural nature, I think there should be what? Natural professionals, or I don't know what the term is, or is it nature something? Because it's all culture, number 2. And then number 3, if we look back at the cultural value chain, it starts with cultural creators, producers, and distributors. Creators, producers, distributors. Maybe to practice kaya. Jangan create Pak, to practice more. Yeah, something like that. So.
Thank you. Mbak Bu Felicia?
For a consistency sake, so maybe cultural professionals, because it includes, everyone, not just related to because there are so many. So number 2.
Yes. I kind of agree with Ibu Felicia that if we want to be generic, it has to be like natural and cultural professionals. Yes, we don't need to be specific. Contributions. Okay. To ensure the contributions of people, what is it, Ibu Feli? Okay. To ensure the contributions of people work in the art sectors, working in the art sector, maybe art sector, Mbak Sally.
I would like to add some words after the in the
what number,
second point. At large in a participatory policy making process. Participatory. A participatory. Okay, with A. Okay.
Actually, it's repetitive because we already said that promote an inclusive mechanism. That's the first one. And then the second one is to ensure the contributions of people is already participatory. So we don't need to repeat that actually, Mas. If you want to have in participatory, you can say promote an inclusive and participatory mechanism, maybe.
That's right.
Okay. Mbak Sally, please. Ibu Felicia.
Kang Oji, can I offer a suggestion? So instead, because if we include restore the nature within this sub-theme, it would, take it too broad. So would it be possible to empower the people with the reference of the preamble or something, so it's because it's more of the spirit, right? So something that we could refer back to whatever it is that we are recognizing in the preamble later. Because we're talking really specifically, yeah, we're talking about human presence.
Number one is
Yeah.
about the follow-up initiative.
Yeah.
That number one.
Yeah.
Yeah. What kind of initiative that we need? I'm struggling to connect between the culture as a sector of the civil society, academics, policy officials, with those who are working with nature.
Yeah.
Because we are the first sentence, the global initiative. That is the first frame. I don't want to strengthen the sectoralism of the culture at this particular side and nature in the other side.
Yeah. Hi there. Sorry, but just to, I think here, as you were saying, we're talking about the human processes to achieve that. And so could you include that capacity building in nature and cultural professions to empower people? And then not to put and to restore the nature, because that's what you want to achieve, but we're talking about the human processes. So if you just capacity building in nature and cultural professions, does that work?
Yeah, should we say environmental professionals? Because nature professional sounds very...
But it's not natural.
Yeah.
It's not natural professionals, which you have later, so it's environmental.
Environmental professionals.
Okay, Mbak Sally, first of all, I think Pak Joe already agreed that we delete the and to restore the nature in the first place, and then the second one we change nature into environmental and cultural professionals.
No, and also in the first, you need to have environmental and cultural professionals, so that it's clear that when you're also working with environmental issues, you're empowering people.
All right. Environment before cultural professions on the first point, Mbak Sally. The first point, the first action plan, I mean. Okay, capacity building in environmental and cultural professions. Okay, and the second action plan? It's similar to this first one. So we change nature and cultural professionals becomes environmental and cultural professionals.
Just to be more specific,
okay, we need to wrap up.
Number one, develop a global initiative that systematically and regularly provide capacity building for professionals in environmental and cultural sectors. So that will include everyone.
So you means that if you add professionals, the non-professionals are not entitled to get the capacity building?
People working in environmental and cultural sector.
Okay, we
for anyone, or is it better people or anyone?
Yes, madam. Madam.
So I was thinking the professional might be too narrow, because a lot of rural people, their way of life, it is art. You may see from outside it's art, but for them it's life, like a celebration, food. So when you talk about profession, means more into a job, you get paid. So how to use some words more broad, which including those people? Maybe we can discuss about that. Yeah, they may be not working, see? Their way of life. So, yeah, I would say stakeholders in that environment and the culture.
All right, changes into for stakeholders in environmental and cultural sectors.
Along with this spirit, if possible, point 3, can we change to promote further global cooperation among all stakeholders in environmental and cultural sectors? To practice gitu.
Number 3, Mas?
Number 3.
Once again, would you please repeat?
Promote further global cooperation among all stakeholders or all environmental and cultural stakeholders.
Maybe
all,
stakeholders.
Habis all environmental dulu. Environmental and cultural stakeholders. Nah, jadi dari stakeholders itu sampai hapus saja nanti. Nah, habis that itu hapus sampai ini. Hapus sampai practice itu kali. Nah, sampai distributor. To practice, tambah to practice jadi sekarang. Add to practice habis itu, yes. Yeah.
Okay, we are about to wrap up very soon. So if there are no no more inputs, yes, Mas.
Okay.
So I'd like to add number 2. We've just discussed with Injong, my friend, because yesterday we also discussed about the indigenous and masyarakat adat people. So I think we need to add, after the and society, we need to add including marginalized and indigenous people, right? Thank you very much.
All right. I'm speaking on behalf of an Indonesian. We don't recognize indigenous people because indigenous people term refers to discriminations. We all indigenous people in Indonesia, so we don't have specific indigenous society. So we use adat community, if you agree. So it's already accepted in the human rights meeting, UN human rights meeting in Geneva as well. It's our position, it's our basic position. Miss Alison.
Hi there.
Of course, we will incorporate it into the paragraph. Miss Alison, you have similar inputs?
Yes, I'm sorry, there's a little discussion going on here. I'm afraid, just going quickly back to point 1, I think actually that last edit has in a sense removed the sense of point 1.
Sorry, Miss Alison, we go back to his inputs first by incorporating, so number 2, Mbak Sally, cultural professionals and society at large, comma, including marginalized, you mean? Marginalized means disability. Okay. Minority group. Okay. So including minority group and minority group and
minority groups marginalized then society at large. So then there's
okay.
very clear action.
Cultural professionals, comma, including minority groups and marginalized people, and society at large. You move society at large at the back of the before we end the sentence, Mbak Sally. Marginalized with D.
Also, you don't need including anymore because it's already to ensure the contribution of. So you can erase including.
Okay, element that the including. Marginalized with D, please. Marginalized with D. One E, please. Marginalized with 1 E and D. Marginalized people and society at large in the policy making. Okay, thank you. Ms. Allison, if we may go back to you.
Hi there,
please.
just one very small point because we were having a discussion. Number 1, the original object of number 1 was aimed at professional communities and capacity building in people-centered approaches within professional communities to ensure that they are better able to include and empower people, correct? And I just feel that when you've changed that over to stakeholders, you lose that specificity.
if I may recall yesterday's sessions, I think speakers from Singapore, right, said that yes, besides there is a strong support from the government of Singapore to support the professionals.
Yes.
There's also community initiative to establish a fund for the non-professionals, for the society at large. So that's the background why we don't need to put the specific professionals in that, I think, because we also need to cater the needs of the larger society, right? Not only the professionals, I mean.
Because what we understood from point one, the original draft was that the idea was build the capacities of professionals and to link the cultural and the environmental professionals and help them to work together. We feel that because we are saying now stakeholders, it's become too broad. While we understood the original purpose to be let's train cultural professionals more, and let's also train the environmental professionals so that the two will also learn to work together. We just feel that because this is an action plan, the first point has now become too broad. So was the original intention to give more training to cultural and environmental professionals so that they can, in their jobs, do even better and also be interdisciplinary? Now it has become training for everybody is a stakeholder. It's training for everyone, which for an action plan we felt is too broad. So if the original intention was that the professionals can go to a higher level, then we have to stay with the professionals. So that was our query.
All right, if everybody's agree?
That one thing, but I don't agree with the putting only the cultural professional, because it goes into an association for what the person from the right side said. Yeah, professions means it's a market-based thing. There's a group, this is not about numbers, it's the majority groups who are invisible. For example, in relation with indigenous and traditional knowledge. Yeah, the food, the rendangs that we eat every day, yeah, for the Minangkabau culture, it's about the indigenous and traditional practices. If we collect all of the menu from all of the kitchens of the rural urban women and men, then it will go into the encyclopedia of food, which is still invisible in Indonesia context and other nation contexts. So I want to add, it's not only for professions, but also for those who are important to be visible because of their contribution for the
in that case, then we stick to stakeholders, because it's broader than professionals.
Yes.
Yeah. So we just go back to the revised version. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Go back to the previous relevant. Maybe we can add relevant stakeholders. If you see it's too broad. Yes, Mas? No. We are talking about the group of people, so it's correct already. Okay, if there are no more inputs, additional inputs or additional goals, we should stop now. Is everybody agree now? Okay, so Bapak, if you'd like to have a concluding, ya Ibu. Kindly take note of that. I think the editor teams are ready to make adjustments there. Yeah, Bapak, if you would like to conclude the session, Pak.
Yes. Yes, I think it is, the session is closed, and all the participants has reset the action plans, subterm 1 and 4, and I think it's finished. And after that, effect action plan reading in Jakarta statement, yes, by Mr. Ananto, after lunch breaks, yes. Okay. Thank you very much for all the participants. Yes.
Thank you.
kamu mau bikin promote inclusive mechanism. Ini maksudnya buat siapa? Bukan bawa lagi. Mana yang hari terakhir? Oh bukan, enggak yang edit tadi.
Oh yang
di
di
sana.
belakang Pak.
Kalau mau bikin inclusive mechanism,